Good morning, students. This is the video for the chapter French Revolution, and this video has been made for class 9th. Now in this video we'll cover the entire chapter. So let's begin the journey of this entire chapter through this video. The chapter starts with attack on the Bastille, which was a fort, and it was attacked by ordinary people of France. At that time, rumor spread that the soldiers of Louis XVI were coming to kill the ordinary people. So in order to save themselves, the ordinary people decided to form militia group. They formed militant group, and after that they searched many buildings in order to get arms and ammunition. While doing so, they attacked also the Bastille, which was fort cum prison. His commander was killed, and thereafter 7 prisoners were released from the Bastille. So we need to understand that this was simply an attack on the despotic power of the King Louis XVI. Now, beginning of the revolution. The attack on Bastille was marked as the beginning of revolution. As we discussed, that militia attacked fort cum prison, and after that 7 prisoners were released. We need to understand when this prison was demolished, their pieces of stones were sold in the market as a souvenir, as a memory, because the King Louis XVI became unpopular and people are not allowing, that they were not ready to accept his kingdom anymore. That is why they attacked his symbol of power. We need to understand the attack was nothing but the challenge on the despotic power of the king. So that is why the clear message was sent to king that people are very unhappy. And in the ultimate figure, in the ultimate time, you will find that ultimately the Louis XVI was executed in his own country. In order to understand all these events, in order to understand why this was happening, we'll have to go in the past, when Louis XVI ascended the throne, and thereafter how he treated his citizens, and thereafter we'll try to understand what exactly sparked the revolution in the country. So we'll try to understand all these things in the upcoming events. So let's start the upcoming events. Before going to the Louis XVI, we need to understand when Louis XVI was there in the France, the society was structured into following form. First of all, the society was structured into 3 states or 3 groups. People before the revolution, the French people were divided into 3 groups. Like we can see here, the first state was there, the clergy. They were known as clergy people. Clergy means the churchmen, those who believed in church, those who were connected with church, like bishop and father. The second state, that was the second group, it consisted of nobility, the king, and the highest position in the administration, the person who were holding high position in the administration, and thereafter the army commanders. Whereas the third state, the common people, the group that belonged to the common people, it consisted of workers, particularly urban workers, and many more. This particular group were the taxpayer group, whereas the first state and second state group was imposing their tax. Actually, they were exempted from taxes. Only the tax was in the command of first state and second state, whereas third state was only tax paying. And from the amount, from that particular tax money, the third state, the nobility and the clergy were enjoying. So basically, the third state population was paying the tax, and nobility and clergy were enjoying from that money of the collected taxes. So this is how exploitation was going on of the third state population. So we need to understand here that everything was completely discriminated in the country. The third state population was the ultimate person who were being exploited in the country, and the nobility and clergy were getting benefits, privileges, special rights from their birth. So we need to understand that first step consisted of bishop, abbot, and due to the power of Roman Catholic Church, they were exempted from paying taxes. They were from the high status. They were the high status people, luxuries, and lived in palaces, big palaces. We need to understand. Similarly, the second state population, nobility, it consisted of duke, kings, countess. Similarly, they were also having high position in administration and army. They were also exempted from paying taxes. They were not paying any taxes, and they were collecting rent from peasants who lived on their land. So basically, they provided land to the ordinary peasants, and peasants were doing farming, and from that piece of farmland, they were getting the benefits. Now, the third state, its population was total 26 million, and it was at the third structure of society. It consisted of peasants, artisans, manufacturers, bankers, even lawyers were there. But among all these, poorest were the journeymen, servants, construction workers, and street sellers. All were paying the taxes. All were paying the taxes. We need to understand all paid the tax. So this group was the taxpayer group. So we already discussed that who was paying the taxes. Now let us discuss what was the cause of revolution. If we are talking about French Revolution, we must understand the cause of that revolution. So for that we need to understand that in the year 1774, Louis XVI came to the throne. Already his predecessors created its own effect in the country. And thereafter in 1774, Louis XVI came to throne, and from thereafter he ruled till 1793 when he was finally executed. After that, when he ascended the throne, he got married with the Austrian princess Marie Antoinette, and thereafter he lived his life like a real king. No one was going to stop them. We need to understand here what was his achievement and what was his problem that he created in the country. In 1774, Louis XVI of the Bourbon dynasty ascended the throne. When he was 20 years, he got married with the Austrian princess, and after that, he ruled as an absolute monarch. He had maintained a huge army and built a big extravagant court. And thereafter, he also constructed immense palace of Versailles. So basically, all the money were invested. All the money that was very important, it was invested in constructing the palace of Versailles. So money which was very important at the time, because when he came to throne, he found that his treasury was empty and almost no money was there. So in order to get money to run the administration, he took loan from other countries at high rate of interest, and that money was invested in making palaces, in meeting his regular expenses. But after that, he was running out of money. He was having no money to run his administration, to run his army, to run his offices. That was the most difficult problem before him. So ultimately he found solution. What was the solution? The solution was to impose more taxes on the third state group. Already the third state population was facing the trouble, and thereafter it was decided by the Louis XVI to impose more taxes. Now, king's attempt to solve the financial crisis. So what was the solution that he got? He was forced to call a meeting of the State General. That was a sort of parliament in 1788. So basically he tried to solve his financial problem, and for that he decided to increase the taxes in the country. And basically we all know that taxes were to be given by the third state group, but it was not very easy because already the third state was paying the taxes, and that was very harsh. And after that, if the king would go with such type of thing, of course it will attract the revolution. So king took step very carefully, and that is why he called the meeting of State General. That was the parliament of that time. Thereafter, the voting process took place in the State General, that was the Parliament, and in that group wise voting versus population wise voting, the tie, I mean to say, the issue raised that whether the State General should go with group wise voting system or population wise voting system. So according to the rule, each state or group was authorized to cast one vote. So it was decided, or it was the rule, that every group will cast a single vote. So third state population was in a position to cast one vote. One vote was in the favor of one group, that was clergy. One vote was in the favor of nobility. And we all know that nobility and clergy were together. So obviously the proposal to increase the tax would be passed if nobility and clergy will vote in favor of increasing the taxes. So that is why the third state general demanded that no, voting should be done not on the basis of group but on the basis of population. And this proposal of third state was rejected by the King Louis XVI. That is why the people understood, the third state population understood that Louis XVI is ready to increase the taxes without their consent, and that is why they boycotted State General, and finally they moved away from there and they assembled near the tennis court. A tennis court was there, one indoor tennis court was there, and they declared themselves, in the tennis court they declared themselves, we need to understand here, angered with the inaction of the State General and upset with their position in French society, many of the third state representatives left the meeting and gathered in a nearby tennis court to take the tennis court oath. Here in the indoor tennis stadium they took the oath, and thereafter he told clearly that we are taking pledge, or we are here to go with pledge, that we will finally complete the constitution. And thereafter it was declared that we are the original parliament, and it was decided that finally we will be termed as National Assembly. So basically here third state group population established a new parliament that was termed as National Assembly. So here we saw that finally National Assembly was formed with the initiative of third group population, and finally they signed a Declaration of the Rights of Men and Citizens and gave all important rights, or the fundamental rights and legal rights, to the ordinary people of France. So this is how within the country, within the regime of Louis XVI, another parliament was formed, and that was termed as National Assembly. Now National Assembly was vested with the power to make laws. This assembly became very popular over the time because it consisted of mainly maximum population, and here also when it became popular, it created discrimination in his own country. This parliament was also not very pure. Why? Because it asked that citizens would be categorized as a passive and active citizens. So active citizens who cross the age of 25 and who are in a position to pay their taxes. I mean, only the wealthy person were given the chance to cast their vote, and those were termed as the active citizens, whereas women and children below the age of 25 were termed as passive citizens, and they were not allowed to vote. This is how finally a legislative body was formed and voting system was given, and finally the power was distributed to the legislative body also. So here king was challenged, and finally the king was given less power by the National Assembly. Here by that time National Assembly became more powerful, and finally it was giving the instruction to the king. Before that king was giving instruction to all. Now National Assembly became so powerful that it started giving instruction to Louis XVI. Now Louis XVI admitted it because maximum population was in the favor of National Assembly, so there was no choice before the Louis XVI. So Louis XVI was not ready, but somehow he understood. Now we need to understand that it was not very easy task for the National Assembly to instruct the Louis XVI. For that we need to understand that at that time many middle class who were the part of the third estate population, they got inspiration from many philosophers of that time. Like John Locke was there. He wrote 2 treatises of government in which he rejected the doctrine of divine. He told that no, if the king is telling that he is having authority of the god, then he is incorrect. After that, Rousseau also told that social contract, people should come in contact with representatives, and they should rule. Like in our country, representatives are ruling as per the contract. After 5 years, they will have to face the election. Similarly, it was demanded by Rousseau, Locke, and Montesquieu. In his Spirit of Law, he told that power should be not concentrated in the hand of king. It should be distributed to the legislative body, to the executive, and to the judiciary. And on his proposal only, finally, the National Assembly was constructed, and the power was separated with legislative body, the executive body, and judiciary. So we need to understand here that finally these philosophers played a very important role in creating magic. In creating magic here, in connecting the ordinary people or in raising a wheel. Now we need to understand here at the same time the National Assembly declared war against Prussia and Austria. Why? Because King Louis XVI made a secret plan to resist the National Assembly. The National Assembly took initiative before the Louis XVI could do anything. They took the initiative and they declared war against Prussia and Austria, because Prussia and Austria were the monarchs, and of course monarch will also help the monarch. So Prussia and Austria thought that if they would help the Louis XVI, then monarchy would be established again and no one would be there to challenge their power. This is why Austria and Prussia tried to help. But meanwhile, National Assembly themselves declared the war against Prussia and Austria. So King plan failed. Here, we need to understand here. So this is the very important concept we need to understand, that what exactly happened. And finally, on August 10, 1792, the Jacobin led a large number. There was another group there, and they were angered by the rising price of the food, and that is why they attacked the palaces of the Tuileries in which king was residing. Finally, the royal family barely escaped with their lives, and king guards were killed, and the king and the family fled to the protection of the assembly. We need to understand here that the Jacobin group was one of the important group that was not happy with the king. Many groups are there who are not happy with the king. So they attacked the king palace, and finally many people they left the palaces. Finally, we need to understand here that on 21st of September 1792, a newly elected assembly called convention. Again, newly elected convention was formed, because here National Assembly was not a very pure body, and it abolished monarchy from the country and declared France as the constitutional republic. And finally, the court was there, and court tried Louis XVI, and finally in 1793 he was executed. He was finally killed. So we need to understand here. Now thereafter, as we discussed the Jacobin club, the top leader of the Jacobin club was the Robespierre. So we need to understand, after the death of Louis XVI, the reign of terror began. The period of terror was there. The period was from 1793 to 94 was termed as the period of terror. Why this is termed as the period of terror? Because here Robespierre came to the throne of the France, and Robespierre was the mastermind of that reign of terror. And we need to understand, when he came to power, he adopted his blood and iron policy, and he controlled everything. Maximilian, his full name was Maximilian Robespierre, and he was a very cruel person. He followed the policy of severe control and punishment. He set maximum ceiling on wages and prices. He controlled the market also. He told that meat and bread would not be sold at maximum price. It would be rationed. Peasants were forced to sell their grains at a price fixed by the government. So everything was under the control of Robespierre. Now churches were shut down. He was not very happy with the growing power of clergy. So that is why he attacked the church also, and finally churches were shut down and it was converted into the barracks, army barracks. And after that he told that no, men are superior to female and females should not get enough right. Finally he invented many machine also, that was termed as the guillotine machine. And guillotine machine was a very dangerous machine which was there to behead the enemies, his opponents, and finally he was also executed in 1794. So he ruled for only 1 year. So when he was ruling the country, he found that the opponents and the females should not get equal opportunity. That is why his period is termed as reign of terror. Now after that he was killed. Another body was formed in the country, that was the Directory. So Directory was another form of government that was formed in the country, because already we saw that there was a period of Louis XVI. Thereafter we saw the period of National Assembly. Thereafter we saw the period of Maximilian Robespierre. or reign of terror, and thereafter there was a period for directory. So directory now became the ultimate government in the country and it started ruling the country. So let us discuss what was there in the directory. People had grown tired of the instability and bloodshed of the revolution and were ready for something more moderate. So here we can see easily that people were very unhappy with the instability of their country. Every time government was coming, they were following their own policies, and every time people were suffering. So finally in 1795 the republic was gone, a republic was removed, and five men with business interest and the executive power in France. So we need to understand a next body was formed. This was termed as the directory. It was the new government that was termed as directory, and this was having a legislative body as well as executive body, and in the executive body 5 members were there. So we need to understand, when 5 members were there, the decision was to be taken by majority. But here problem started, it also became ineffective. Why? Because legislative and executive came in conflict with each other. They were not ready to accept the domination of each other. Sometimes executive was telling, I am superior because I am having the implementation power, and legislative was telling sometimes that I am superior because I constructed, I made the executive body. So this is how the directory also became ineffective over the time and it failed. And in such a growing instability in the country, complete chaos in the country, finally a man came, a soldier came, and he finally turned into a dictator, and he was none other than the Napoleon. Now Napoleon came to power. In 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte crowned himself Emperor of France. So he crowned himself as the Emperor of France, and he set out to conquer neighboring European countries. Now he was a very ambitious person. When he came to power, when he crowned himself as the Emperor of France in 1804, he decided to conquer the nearby European countries. Initially, many people saw Napoleon as a liberator, because already in the Europe many countries were there which was ruled over by monarchs, and they became unhappy. They were not satisfied with their kings. That is why when Napoleon attacked their kingdoms, they welcomed Napoleon as a liberator. But soon after that, Napoleon armies were also viewed as invading forces, because when Napoleon entered in their areas, everything was very smooth. But thereafter, as Napoleon was very ambitious, he forced people to join his army, and he imposed heavy taxes on the ordinary people of the neighboring areas. That is why people became very unhappy after some time with the Napoleon. Finally, Napoleon was defeated at the Waterloo in 1815. 1815 was the last time for Napoleon in which he got defeated. It was the last phase of Napoleon in which Napoleon finally got defeated, because Napoleon could not withstand the pressure. We need to understand here that Napoleon contribution is very important in France. We have to understand that when Napoleon came to power, he introduced many laws for the protection of private bodies, and he introduced uniform system of weight and measure. We need to understand here that Napoleon saw as he is a modernizer of Europe. He introduced many new laws such as protection of private property and the uniform system of weight and measures. And he introduced many revolutionary ideas of liberty. Although he was a dictator, he introduced great achievements, he introduced great things in his own country. We have to understand that when Napoleon came to power in 1804, he introduced, after that, when he came to power, Napoleonic Code or Civil Code of 1804, in which he told that in order to run the administration of the entire conquered countries, he adopted a certain set of rules, a certain set of guidelines that was applicable to all the parts which was conquered by him. Thereafter, he told that people should be allowed to keep their own property. That is why he asked them to keep their own property. That before that, property was considered the property of king, but thereafter private property was considered the property of ordinary people. I mean, he allowed the people to keep their property, and here the king was not going to claim that property. After that, uniform system of weight and measures was also adopted. Uniform system of weight and measures was also adopted, because at the time the problem was that when Napoleon attacked nearby areas, he found very difficulty. He found that different countries are having their different set of currencies, they are having different weight and measures, they are having their own set of rules. So it was very difficult for Napoleon to rule the entire area. That is why, in order to simplify the administrative area or administrative system, he introduced administrative reforms to the Civil Code of 1804. And finally, he introduced a single set of or uniform system of weight also, measures also. Suppose weight is measured, so he adopted. Suppose the weight is kg or measurement is meter, so he adopted meter and kg all over the European part that was under his control. So this is how Napoleon became a very important man, very important personality, and he attacked a different area. We need to understand here that why Napoleon is termed as the liberator, because whatever he introduced in his own country or in the neighboring areas, that was completely commendable, that is completely appreciable. Why? Because at the time monarchs were there, and monarchs were not imposing the modern ideas. They were only moving along with old ideas or the conservative ideas. At the time, Napoleon being a person, despite he was a dictator, he introduced modern ideas, modern views, modern ideas, innovations, and that is why he was termed as modernizer of Europe. We will discuss when Napoleon got defeated, everything changed in 1805. We already discussed the battle of Waterloo, where we discussed here that when Napoleon came to power, finally in 1815 he was defeated. So we need to understand from 1805 to 1815 he ruled over the entire European part. He ruled over the entire part of Europe, and when he was ruling, he became more popular. But finally, he was defeated in the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. So that was the decisive battle in which finally the France was there at one side, other side Belgium, Russia was there, and many other countries were there. So it is considered that it was his biggest mistake to move towards Russia or to move towards the eastern part of Europe. And from there he found problem. His dream was to conquer the entire Europe. In fact, he was a very ambitious person, and that is why finally, because he lost the support of ordinary people, he started facing the problem there. So finally he was defeated in the Battle of Waterloo, and this ends the chapter of Napoleon Bonaparte. So we came to understand that when Louis XVI was in power, he could not get the support of ordinary people, because whatever he did, it was not in the favor of ordinary people. Whatever he did was there to meet his expenses. Whatever he did was there to help him to run the administration. But he never thought about the problems of people. That is why people came on the street and they attacked the Bastille, and thereafter the revolution started. That is why French Revolution started. We need to understand here that French Revolution created a remarkable impact in the world history, because through the French Revolution people came to realize the idea of liberty, like Napoleon introduced, the idea of modernity, which was introduced by Napoleon, and finally we came to understand that how equality, liberty, fraternity, all these became popular from the France only. We had already discussed about the role of various philosophers like Locke, like Rousseau, similarly Montesquieu, and all of them, they laid the foundation of government for the upcoming generation. That is why still in our present time we are following the guidelines of Montesquieu in his Spirit of Law, when he gave the theory of three types of government or division of power. At the time it was not realized, but today we are really dividing the power. Every part of the world, every part of the global government is following the guidelines that was given by Montesquieu at the time. Similarly, divine theory was rejected. So many philosophers who were there present at the time, their theory is still applicable, their theory is still relevant. We need to understand that whatever the France Revolution achieved, its achievement is very glorious in the world history, and we are still following the guidelines, the impact. We can still sense the impact of French Revolution in different parts of the world. So this is all about the French Revolution. We already discussed much about French Revolution, and we will discuss next chapter in the next video. So I hope that it is very clear that how the French Revolution started and how it created its impact in the global world, in the global scenario. So this is all about this in this chapter. Thank you so much.